Hello guys, and welcome back to session 6 of the project I'm working on, which is for my school. So we've done a bunch of things so far, and just like to continue from where we left. We started implementation of the auth before. I had issue with my internet yesterday, and just hope that we won't have any interruptions today. So if you have any questions, you can post in the stream chats. So I think we can continue from where we left, and what we're working on was working on the login page, and we're supposed to log in the user. Here we can just say login successful. So what I wanted to achieve here was to have like a transactional approach for doing some of these things. So when you're working with the transactions, so if you go to Drizzle query, and search here. So if I search for transactions, so oh, welcome Luhar. Where are you watching from? So what we have with our backend is just show what we have. So first we need to confirm user details. So confirming the user details, then now we need to create login session. Then we generate a token. So this token will none of these things should not happen, and some part does not happen. So that means we need to have them in a way that it's either it fails or everything else passes. So my personal approach to this was have like a transactional class that we can use to inject can use this to inject our transaction, because we've so far seen the power of transactions, and by it we can be able to do things in isolation and make sure that for things which require a linear way of doing things should not fail. So reason why we do transactions is so this is the key thing for in DBMS. What we usually want is this acid properties. So that means if we can achieve atomicity, that is the entire transaction takes place at once and does not happen at all. Consistency, the database must be consistent before and after the transaction. And also in isolation, multiple transactions occur independently without interference. Then the changes successful transaction occur even if the system failure occurs. So that means with the Drizzle in place, we can achieve this kind of transaction, and they provide it as a callback. So with us, we don't need to have it as a callback. I just want it to be something that we can inject. So I'm yet to test and see whether it's possible. So in a transaction, you can also have a sub transaction, so that you have a save point for your data. That means you can say I'm going to update the user details, and if the user details are updated, and maybe let's say you were to update the addresses or delete an address, so you can update the user details and not delete the address. So you can have like a save point for your application. So Drizzle gives us a way by which we can generate a transaction and have a way of creating another transaction from the same transaction, so that the first one behaves like a parent transaction, and the second one now is a child. So the child can be used as a save point for your database. So let's see how we can set this up. So I need a way to inject that to this. So let's see how that will work out. So we'll go to our decorators. Then we have the controller decorators. In here, so we'll create a transaction service transaction. I hope my audio is audible. If I'm audible. Service transaction .ts. So export, we can export a function here. So export a function we can have at transactional service. So this will be a function that will return a function that gets as a target So let's see on how to have method transaction. Not method transaction, decorators. So we can exploit from this point. So a method decorator takes in just the target property and the descriptor. So target will be any key. We pass a key, which will be a string. Then we can have a descriptor, which is a property descriptor. Then with this, what we'll have to do here, so we'll create a type, service transactional context. So this will take in data which will point to any for the moment. Then now we'll get our data as D, then transaction, which will be a drizzle. I don't know whether we have something, an interface for this. If we have we'll see. Transaction. So let's see what's the type of this it's Postgres transaction. This will be a PG transaction. So for this data, so just here, PG transaction. See. Interface. DB to transaction. So let's see how. So what we'll have here is to first the original method will assign to, we first assign the original method so that we extract it, which will be in the descriptor itself. Then now we reassign the descriptor to a new function. Then we get all the arguments. So in the arguments, what we'll do, what will happen here is to now we'll create a context. Our context will be data. So we'll use we expect that the data will be uh, so all the arguments that will be passed to this function, or will pass it as data. So I know it will be an array of things, but we'll test and see what comes in. So result, so we'll apply this context to our original method. If so, the same transaction that will pass here, so then what we'll do is to first try and create a db transaction. Then this one now will be pointing to db.transaction. Is my internet gone again today? So we need a way to wrap this so that if if things fail, so we can await whatever this returns. I'm not sure if it's a callback, but let's see. Can await. So we'll have our tx, then it should give us back the tx. So let's make this async. So let's see. db await try. Love our try catch. Const feedback will be await db.transaction. Then we'll get our tx. For that tx, so in here we'll also have a try catch. I know there are so many, but the internal one will it won't be so much effective. Then we'll see how to handle it. So let's see. Here we'll return await original our original method dot apply. This here we did the previous one. So we'll pass this apply these arguments. Const result will be await so we'll try to await original method for the original method. Original method dot apply. So what we'll be applying will be the context. Context. So this will be async. So this context, we've not defined it. If this one throws an error, it got we can return this. And we have result here. So with this result, then we can commit. Here we can commit this trans. How do you commit? What do you transaction? So if it has not been rolled back, I don't think if it will have any issues. And return result. So we'll create our context. The transaction. Schema is incompatible. Let's just have it as that. Then test if this. So back to our login service. Then we can inject. We can apply this decorator. So in here, we'll pass our transaction. Transaction service context. Can export. Back to our login service. So they should give us data and transaction. We have our transaction here, and so we can just log our data. Data and so that we can see what we are getting after that the registered. I think we registered auth. Just duplicate this. Auth. Then we'll have this as login. Auth. Login. So it's a JSON file. I need to run the server. And you'll see password is required. Send again. Character. So an error card. Where let's log this error. Cannot destruct a property of data of undefined as it is undefined. Okay. Okay, so nice. I can see it's rolling back, but it's type cannot destruct data. What are the arguments passed here? So the data is being passed. Login service line 20. So if we check here, you can see whatever we destructure from here. Okay. Let's see whether whatever we are passing is whatever It's being injected on the other side. So apply. The call method takes separate the apply. Supply takes oh, should be an array. This should be an array. Send. What is not defined? So this should be data. Okay. Send. Yep. And seems like we're on the right track. So what to take note of here? Okay, this transaction here, but our data is an array. So we were able to inject the context of the transaction to our service. The only challenge now is we have an array. So with this array, we need to check. The first one will be the data which was passed. So because one way to think of it is probably we can have a single input. We can have it like that for the moment, but just see, because we'll be taking all the arguments passed, then that is what now we'll have in the we'll have here. So not unless let's see, what if how do we make sure that it's an array? We make sure that it's not an array. Well, let me rename this to transactional context. So the data, we need the data as is. So okay, for now we'll just take the first argument to be our data and assume if args.length, so if args.length is greater than, so we'll need to put a validation to make sure that if someone passes more than one argument will break the method call. So if the length of the arguments is greater than 1, then we'll need to just throw an error, new API error. So okay, it's just a formatting issue. So our method only requires a single argument. So this should cater for the issues we are having. So then the args here will pick the first one. So for the first one, that will make sure that we come now to our service, the data assume the warnings. So if I send this, we have an issue. What's the error? Okay. So in our service, we structure this as something else. So it should be able to resolve the original context. Let's see. Now we send this. It should be okay. But we get the data is okay. The way it was passed from the client. And we also have the transaction with us. So this means that our injection is working well. So just something to test here is to just throw an error and see whether it will roll back. Just a test error. So if I throw that exception, is sent. Seemingly it's rolling back. It's automatically rolling back if there's any error. So how do we now make sure that because do we really need see. So it's apparent that this has not been used. So as long as we pass this transactional service, it should be able to wrap our function in a way that if now we call this method, it will be called inside this decorator, and this decorator will make sure that whatever is passed here is well validated. So let's test if oh, okay, so this one now is affecting this side because let me see, let me see, how do we because whatever will pass here is inferred from the service itself. Let me just try to add a and to yeah. So we can test if the other one is working, and then it's breaking. See, okay. So how do we make sure that this is resolved in the correct way? Seems like whatever it is we have, this is not. I think that is not. Let's remove them for the moment. Now maintain so that the controller doesn't really have an issue with the service. Mm, so how do we solve this? So that the controller doesn't really complain on the now. This only requires a single argument. Let me try and see if it's, okay. So what you can do is optional. So once you make that optional, meaning the service can pass data. So the data will, what we have here, should be our body. Body or undefined. So we'll pass our data there, and that will make sure that our transaction will either exist or not exist. So with that in check, sure that let's see what issue do we also can use. Okay. So apparently now everything is working. Pass the context. For this context, we make the transaction. Then that transaction, we're going to use the service in the controller. We pass the data as an object. So pass in here extra. I was testing here if it's able to validate that. Apparently, this request can't go through. I don't know why. Something has broken somewhere. This work. This is working. It's only for the login which is not working. Okay. We even have the feedback. So I don't get the feedback actually. I go to see. Is it that this is not working? is broken. Uh, see, run this function, the disk itself, the original. If there's an error, then return everything, then return the description. So we not. Why is this working? It started off well, but what's really, what's not? Had some bugs. Run in debug mode, not. Node. Where's the remove this? Npm run. So our debugger is on. Go to our and see whether the debugger. Let's send that request. So seems like both login. Nothing is reaching here. Let's try the login controller. So let's try Okay, okay. Change the where's the div, so that in our development can stop this the debugger run. Send. Start. Let's see how to fix this. I'll start off by remove this controller for now. And okay, so it's not working across. What? Just clear this. How do you clean this? Something is not right. Let me test with it. What's not happening? Have this as payroll. Add a new fourth. Then start a simple HTTP request. I will be pointing to it the network or that's causing issues here. Oh, there's environment. Create a new environment. Of my base URL. Copy. This is shared. So for both, got We'll go with base URL. What's wrong with this? Prediction environment. API v1. Don't know why the moment like something is working is when it stops working. Login. Both. Login. Okay, this is okay. Check the password here. Send. That should wait. So send. Okay, so we get the error test. Something we don't have a transaction. So if I enable this and enable this also, then we'll get a rollback. Okay. So it's issue with the postman, I think so. So seems like postman is broken and maybe I'll need to restart it. For now, I'll use Insomnia for doing the tests. So apparently what's happening here is I don't really want it to, for the errors to be understandable by the user. We don't need to throw rollback. It's kind of not clear. So how do we, let's see, Drizzle error, transaction errors. See, means the TRPC, the class and rollback isn't super descriptive. Oh, okay. Transaction rollback error. Okay, to give details for the rollback, the dx.rollback was a transaction rollback error, which means the RPC error is never thrown. I think this means the client sees an error with the message rollback, which isn't super descriptive. I think that's the same issue we're seeing. All the text of RPC inside the transaction trigger the rollback. Okay. So okay, so we'll need to test this so that we know whether it's working as said here or not, because it says here this is the only message you can get from the rollback, and it's not kind of descriptive. But for me, I need my errors with the messages directly. So just to demonstrate this, if I remove validation from this decorator, that means I'll do the validation inside the service. So if I do the validation inside the service and this transaction is not, if it's rolled back, then that means I'll get the rollback message, and that's kind of weird. It's really weird. Let me see if you can do this however you do that. So just throwing something inside the transaction itself will cause a rollback. Okay. Let's see. So in this service, we'll comment out this part which now does the error handling, so that but for this part we needed to test this so that we confirm whether these params are really working. Anything. So let's see what oh, so I think we'll return this. We need to return whatever is returned from this transaction, so we'll avoid anything to do with error handling. Then next, and this also is within the transaction itself, so let me see if that will catch it. Send. Yep. So to confirm whether let's try and see if there'll be a token created. For now, come back to my service, then reactivate this remaining portion, remove this error part, I'll just import that, fix, because this is just be an okay. Then we need to get the user. So I'll need a way to check for this user. If so const user should be, now we'll use the transaction that we have. Then we can pass our user. Use schema. Then can query. So we have this transaction dot user and how do we query with the transaction dot update. So transaction dot select so we select from user where can we have because I need to convert this const email will be if email or dot includes. So if it includes the @ symbol, then we'll return email. Otherwise, use user. So here we'll say if type can have it as login. So if type is email, then have EQ from Drizzle ORM. Then we do the user side. See, so we pass the column and the data. What's the auth? So here we'll have email, then mail or pass. Otherwise, we'll have an equal for user dot email and email So once we have that, so let's log the user. If this is resolving correctly, so let's say if oh, see what we have in the data. Send request. Oh, so we have data. Then we can just call data here. And we have the user. Seems like we have the user. So seems like we have the user. dot okay. I await this. Wait. That's why it's giving weird result. Send this request. Yep. So we don't have any user. We can just look in the DB and see the user that we have and see whether if we pass let's see if this will be of any help. Send. Okay, nice. So we have the user. So we have the user. So we have the password checker. So then we need to check const password match. This password processor dot compare. Love the password. The user so we need to say here, yeah, if users if I'm just having the wrong names here, db users. So for if you have db users dot length less than 1, less than, if it's less than 1, then you need to just throw an error. So we'll just say no user data found. So we need a new so that's it. Then for the password match, we'll get the first one dot inst user db users. I'll get the first one dot password. So I'll have that if we'll await So we'll await that and see whether it will work. If, let's say here, if password does not match, we throw a new error. New API invalid login credentials. Okay. Send. Okay. Okay, send. But let from side, and I'll just drop it from this point. So the rest will continue with the from tomorrow. This, so allow me just turn the stream there so that we can have a rest. Then now we can meet tomorrow when I'm fresh. So if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing and like the video so that I may continue producing such kind of content. If you have any questions, you can share in the chats and I will be glad to answer you.